Future Trunks is often cited as one of the coolest characters in Dragon Ball, remaining a fan favorite to this very day. And there's many reasons as to why that is, including his debut. Do you remember seeing the sword-wielding mysterious youth for the first time? The youth that revealed there was more than just one Super Saiyan like Goku? The warrior that effortlessly decimated Frieza, who was the prior arc's untouchable antagonist? When we first saw Future Trunks, we weren't just witnessing the landscape of Dragon Ball shifting dramatically, but one of the most significant character debuts in anime. But what exactly made this debut so special? The love we have for certain characters can be determined by a variety of things. Their design and how much we like it, their debut and introduction into a story, their development over the course of a story and how impactful that story is on us as individuals, how cool we deem them to be, or even perhaps how strong they are presented. There are countless elements to a story that can make a character truly come to life that we can't help but make them one of our favorites. Sometimes these characters may not resonate with us early on, but over time, as events unfold, the hardships they endure and the battles they partake in as we slowly see them grow naturally in a story result in them having evolved greatly as a character that we now find them much more engaging. But sometimes, there are characters who have debuts so impactful that they resonate with us so deeply that we can't help but fall in love with them from the moment we first lay eyes on them. And I think that Future Trunks is a perfect example of this, because some debuts ascend above the others. One so memorable that it is still iconic to this day. The day a lone boy appeared out of nowhere, revealing that more than one Super Saiyan existed as he slayed down an evil tyrant, and bared news of a grim future that would come to pass if no action was taken. That boy's name being Trunks, a time traveler from the future with a message for Son Goku. Often considered to be one of the coolest, most beloved characters in Dragon Ball, while also being the most tragic. Trunks had a debut so impactful and legendary that it set the tone for the arcs to come while shifting the narrative in a new direction. It was a debut so shocking and game-changing that despite it coming out of nowhere, it still resonates so deeply with fans of Dragon Ball today. Future Trunks had not only perhaps the best debut in Dragon Ball, but perhaps in the history of anime. But what made this first appearance of this young time traveler so iconic and impactful? To truly understand what made Trunks' arrival as special as it was, we first have to rewind to an earlier point in the story so that we may examine the build-up that would ultimately culminate with the arrival of Frieza and King Cold on planet Earth. A moment that would mark a major shift in the overall timeline, by even manifesting a new one entirely. Dragon Ball up until this point was a series not afraid to display brutality and force its characters into absolute tragedy. At this point in the series, Toriyama had written Goku to endure the loss of many of his loved ones as a result of cold-blooded murder. Master Roshi and Krillin at the hands of Piccolo Daimao, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, and Piccolo at the hands of Nappa. Goku even had to watch as Frieza murdered Krillin, while Goku had no option but to stand there helpless. Dragon Ball was dark before this, that much can't be debated, but as with many dark stories, the resolution of the narrative often resulted with somewhat happy endings. This typically stemmed from Goku and friends undoing the damage of the arc, such as reviving the fallen. Naturally, this wouldn't completely heal the emotional and mental scars endured through the hardships, but being able to revive those who had died made the culmination of each arc ultimately unchanged in terms of who was alive and active, aside from the villains themselves. The whole premise for Traveling to Namek was built on the back of this narrative choice, to use the Dragon Balls to revive those who had fallen against the Saiyans. Now, I'm not arguing that this is bad writing. Toriyama masterfully managed to keep readers hooked and engaged, even while in his story, death may have not meant all that much. That's because it was established early on that death wasn't permanent in Dragon Ball. Toriyama wanted you to know that Dragon Ball was an adventure filled with fun and triumph, not tragedy and despair, such as Attack on Titan, for example, being a polar opposite of Dragon Ball. Goku and friends almost always won at the end of the day, with the bad guy falling and the revival of those who had died. But when the reveal came, as the first time reader of the story, you would be left shocked. This unknown, mysterious youth didn't bear news of good fortune, but of a grim nature instead. Goku and the others would not prevail this time. This time, Goku would lose. The Z Fighters would lose. Everyone was revived, Goku was alive. That was how the Frieza saga culminated. Frieza was seemingly defeated, Goku survived and was on his way home from planet Yardrat, and Krillin and the others were revived as well. The gang was all alive, while Frieza had fallen in his vain attempt to eradicate them. We were led to never expect a path at which Goku and the others would ultimately fail, where they would all die, leaving the world in despair. Goku was the one who had always triumphed up until that point, one way or another, because he always kept fighting and discovering new ways to victory. But when the reveal that Frieza had survived and was arriving on Earth, while Goku was gone, we were being set up to expect one more desperate struggle that would seemingly culminate with Goku ultimately ending up back on Earth to finish the job. Frieza, up until this this point, was the ultimate antagonist of the series. No one had pushed the main cast past their limits the way he had. No one had endured like he had. He had endured the power of a Super Saiyan and the explosion of Namek. He was the villain that would take every ounce of strength to defeat. Keep in mind, a Super Saiyan Goku on Namek, while stronger than Frieza, still failed to finish the job. Frieza pushed Goku even in his Super Saiyan state. It was a brutal battle of attrition that Goku ultimately won, but Frieza was able to survive. We were informed that Frieza, now in his Mecha state, was even stronger than before. Even if Goku had grown stronger, this would surely still be a struggle, right? The power of a Super Saiyan may be enough, but it would be an intense struggle to the death, right? Wrong. That was far from the case. When Trunks first stepped into the picture, we had zero knowledge about him. We don't know his name, we don't know his origins, and we don't know his intent. But we see him challenge Frieza. If a boy like that, who was strong enough to oppose Frieza, even with knowledge of him, where had he been this entire time? Surely someone of that caliber couldn't have slipped under the radar during the entire course of the series that had transpired so far. Where could he have been hiding? What narrative tool would be used to explain his absence and his sudden appearance in the story? And more importantly, would it even make sense? But things only descended further into madness from that point. Trunks, wielding a sword, stepped up alone to oppose the combined might of Frieza and King Cold. He effortlessly disposes of Frieza's minions, then tells Frieza that he was wrong to believe that Goku was the only Super Saiyan when there's another one right there, which is absolutely shocking. As fans of Dragon Ball, we may not know a lot about the series. We probably saw it as kids, but manga functions much differently today. If a big event happens in a popular manga, it'll be trending worldwide in a matter of hours as the fallout will be felt. But Dragon Ball released in the 80s and 90s. There was no social media for millions of people to discuss the newest chapter. Just those who read it on a weekly basis could discuss it with their friends. If Dragon Ball were releasing weekly today, and still had obtained its massive following, the emergence of an unknown Super Saiyan that was not Goku, out of nowhere, would have sent readers into a frenzy. To us now, it may seem like old news, but when examining it from an in-universe perspective, and the implications it carried, and from the perspective as a reader with no knowledge of future events, this revelation is game-changing to say the least. Trunks then powers up into his Super Saiyan state, shocking both Frieza and King Cold, the Super Saiyan from out of nowhere. He then not only engaged Frieza in battle, but effortlessly bested him. With one swing of his sword, this chapter ends with Frieza cut in half. In one chapter, the story went from being set in a direction from where an endless struggle with Frieza was to be expected, to him suddenly becoming nothing more than an afterthought. The narrative was no longer focused on Frieza's return as you would expect. Frieza was simply a catalyst to make this event all that more significant. Frieza was used as a tool to give Trunks' arrival more meaning. In one chapter, the narrative shifted from how will Goku defeat Frieza to who is this unknown man, how was he a Super Saiyan, and how did he just effortlessly defeat Frieza? Frieza and King Cold are defeated by the end of the next chapter. They're both gone. Toriyama set us up to believe that the next arc would once again feature Frieza at the forefront, but he masterfully utilized Frieza as a catalyst that would set us down a far more mysterious and interesting road, as the significance of Trunks' legendary debut extends beyond just him defeating Frieza, as the purpose and role Toriyama wrote him to have would greatly alter the landscape of the series. Trunks carried multiple roles, not to just be a messenger, but as a savior to shift the course of events from tragedy to triumph. Goku and Trunks meeting probably lives rent-free in our heads. Seeing two Super Saiyans stand side by side when just 2 chapters ago we thought Goku was the only Super Saiyan just made it all the more shocking. This is perhaps one of the most important exchanges in the entire series. While it was filled with exposition, it was packed full of shocking reveals and vital information. It would set the stage for the events to come by setting up future arcs, but also further expand on Trunks' eventful debut into the series and provide answer to his origins and reasoning for being there. Trunks had only expanded his mystery by revealing his knowledge of when Goku's arrival back on Earth would take place. His main goal was to meet with Goku. Even Goku was impressed by Trunks' ability to defeat Frieza before his arrival. Trunks originally begins his conversation with Goku, revealing his mission was just to meet Goku, not to defeat Frieza. But Trunks lacked knowledge of Goku's instant transmission and assumed Goku wouldn't arrive in time to defeat Frieza, realizing his interference wasn't needed. Trunks then encourages Goku to become a Super Saiyan, as Trunks can properly assess the man he's heard so much about. This was merely to get acquainted before Trunks revealed his true purpose to Goku. Trunks outright states that the stories regarding Goku were true, but that Goku is even greater than that. Trunks begins the conversation with a bombshell, knowing it would be something that is easy to believe, by revealing he is 20 years from the future and that he possesses Saiyan blood through being Vegeta's son. Up until this point, all we knew regarding him was left up to speculation, but this was confirmation that his arrival carried great significance, and if aired in modern day, would probably be another event that would most likely have everyone talking. But Trunks elaborates that his heritage was far from his main purpose for coming. Trunks reveals that in 3 years, 2 artificial humans, androids as you may know them, will appear with incomprehensible power, created by Dr. Gero of the Red Ribbon Army. Hearing that organization jogs Goku's memory from his childhood. Goku is surprised to hear of how much they spooked Trunks after he had just witnessed Trunks easily dispose of Frieza. Trunks goes on to reveal how all of the Z fighters will die, including Gohan, and after Goku asks, Trunks reveals his fate as well. Goku learns he will die from the heart virus, but surprises Trunks when Goku reveals he's upset he doesn't get a chance to fight them as he wants to know if he can beat them. Trunks' reveal is so dire as the Z fighters completely lost. All of them dead from disease or felled in battle by the androids. This indicates that they weren't strong enough. The Dragon Balls couldn't save them this time. Goku couldn't save them this time. Goku's death was like a domino effect. Without him, their chances of victory greatly dwindled. But even in the face of this horrifying information, Goku remains his typical self, disappointed by the potential fight he could miss out on. Trunks is once again impressed by Goku's resolve. Trunks outright says Goku gives him hope that things could be changed, and presents him with a medicine that could cure his future ailment, allowing him to survive and participate in the battles to come. Goku has given Trunks faith that it can be made better, and once again, he leaves for the future, his warning having been delivered, and once again filled with hope. Trunks tells Goku not to reveal his parentage of Vegeta. Piccolo and Goku then reveal Trunks' warning to the rest of the group, determined to train and survive. Trunks' debut also succeeded masterfully in setting up the new antagonist in the next major story arc of the series. A story about altering the dismal future was set in motion, and a story about renewing hope was beginning. Hope is one of the overarching themes of future Trunks' character arc. He is a character that anyone else in his situation would have abandoned hope long ago. Living in a bleak and decimated world and being witness to your mentor's murder would be easy to break someone, but Trunks and Bulma maintained hope in the visage of Goku. Without their interference, the world of Dragon Ball and the entire main cast was set for destruction, dead at the hands of foes that would terrorize the world for years to come. Trunks' debut, from a narrative perspective, was to be a catalyst to set up the arcs to come. But from an in-character perspective, it was to maintain hope and change the world for the better when all other options were exhausted. Trunks could have simply left Goku with a warning and left, but he wanted to greater understand Goku, the hero behind the stories he had heard so much about, to see if his legend was truth or merely fiction fabricated by Gohan and his mother. Goku, being his casual self, proved to Trunks he is who they said he was. Goku's character was clear to Trunks, as Goku only showed disappointment at not being able to fight the androids. No ounce of fear or dread was present from what he just heard. Trunks realized there was a reason to have hope if Goku was involved in the fight and was prepared and could survive his deadly heart virus. Bulma was right, and Trunks realized it was fine for him to have faith again and perhaps creating a better world than his. This debut was also used by Toriyama to tell a deeper story about the character he had just introduced and the dismal future that character originated from. It was a way to convey that Goku, though not your typical hero, was an individual who could give others hope, and without him, the world becomes a far worse place. It was a subtle story of this new and unseen character learning to still have hope when he could have already given it up long ago, and that even if there wasn't hope in his world, he could still reach a world where there was. A world he could save even if it was too late for his own. From the very moment we met Trunks, he instantly became a beloved character to many. Many adored the badass side of him that came out of nowhere and sliced Frieza to pieces with a sword of all things. The sword probably makes him a lot cooler to some people as well. That is pretty damn cool. But there are deeper themes to unravel and examine that also make him beloved. The inner turmoil from the trauma he's endured and how he keeps overcoming it. The essence of mystery that he first carries. The intrigue of him coming from an unseen world where everything that could go wrong did go wrong, that left us wanting to see more of it. After learning of his tragedy, it makes you want to follow his character arc as well. We want to see him liberate his home world, in addition to Goku helping save the president. So many elements greatly contributed to him having such an impactful debut. Him carrying so much mystery by coming out of nowhere, him becoming a Super Saiyan and making the reader question how that's even possible, seeing him effortlessly dispose of Frieza and King Cold in an iconic manner. All of those were just the beginning, and that alone made his debut incredible. But the added narrative behind his being there multiplies it further. Him coming from a world where everyone was dead, where Goku and the Z-Fighters lost, was a shocking and dark revelation for a series such as Dragon Ball. Him revealing his origins and history was shocking reveal one after another that we may take granted today as longtime viewers of the series. But if we were there when it first happened, it's a moment in the series that would have sent us all into a frenzy. Looking back on his debut now, after seeing his world and the destruction that happened there, makes him having a renewed sense of hope, a great character moment, as some of that hope stemmed from Goku's optimism. It paints Trunks as someone who never gives up, and Goku being capable of inspiring others, even in the bleakest of situations. All these narratives, themes, and elements all merging together to make future Trunks' debut perhaps the greatest debut in all of anime. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Were you a big fan of Trunks' debut, and do you think it's one of the biggest debuts in Dragon Ball? Also, don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, as it helps the video grow and it helps the channel grow. My name is Shepazard. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.